Welcome back to another episode of the best tower defense simulator series on YouTube, The Rundown. But before I get started, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're new to this series, I go over everything you need to know about each tower, including its stats, providing general strategy advice, doing a skin showcase, sharing trivia information, and finally, giving my overall opinion of each tower. All of this information comes from the official Tower Defense Simulator Wiki, which I will link in the description below. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. In this episode, I'll be covering everything you need to know about TDS's most overpowered tower, the Swarmer. The Swarmer is an event tower that was originally obtained by triumphing on Eggy Island hard mode as part of the spring 2020 event. You could also have purchased it via Game Pass for 350 Robux. The Swarmer deals damage in an unusual way. It fires bees or throws honey at an enemy, which damages that enemy over time, even though the Swarmer is not directly attacking it. The enemy will be damaged every tick, which is the same way the accelerator deals damage, but here the tick measures how often the enemy takes damage once it's covered in bees. This is known as sting time. The Swarmer does not target an enemy if they're currently being stung by bees from that same Swarmer. However, multiple Swarmers can attack one enemy and the stinging effect stacks. The Swarmer does not have hidden detection at any level, although it can damage hidden enemies with its ability, the Beehive Grenade, because it deals splash damage to those caught within the explosion, as well as applying the stinging effect. Now let's go ahead and talk about the stats. This tower is going to cost $300 to place and will sell for $100 at its base level. It's a ground placement tower with no placement limit. The level 1 upgrade costs $250, shortens the tick time from 1 to 0.75, and increases the sting time from 3 to 4 seconds. The level 2 upgrade costs $300 and simply increases the range by 4. The level 3 upgrade costs $500, increases the range by 2, and increases the fire rate from 2 to 1. The level 4 upgrade costs $1,200, increases bee damage by 1, shortens the tick time from 0.75 to 0.5, increases the sting time from 4 to 6, and adds the Beehive Grenade ability. And finally, the level 5 upgrade costs $4,000, increases the range by 2, increases bee damage by 2, shortens the tick time from 0.5 to 0.25, increases the sting time from 6 to 8, and increases the fire rate from 1 to 0.5. So what is the Beehive Grenade ability and how does it work? When you activate this ability, the Swarmer throws a grenade that deals 10 damage and inflicts the stinging effect on every enemy inside its radius, even if they're already being stung. The explosion range is 20 and it has a 15-second cooldown. The reason it's so powerful is because you're now hitting every single zombie within its range with this stinging ability again, even if they're already being stung. Here you can see in this stats table from the wiki that each bomb is going to do 128 damage. This is because it does 4 damage every 0.25 seconds for a duration of 8 seconds. But it's not just doing that to the enemy it hits, it's doing it to every enemy within its range. So if you hit a group of enemies with 15 bee bombs, that's 1,920 damage just from the bombs, not even considering the damage coming from the actual Swarmer attack. To put that into context, one of the strongest mid-game enemies is the giant boss that shows up on wave 22 of Fallen. He only has 2,000 health, and you can also see from this stats table that the total price for getting the Swarmer to the point where it can do this much damage only costs $6,550. I'd say that's the cheapest price for any tower in the entire game to get to that amount of damage. The only downside of this entire situation is that it's really annoying to have to keep pressing the ability button, and if you don't use the ability, the Swarmer really doesn't do any damage at all. But on the other hand, if you don't have any problem spamming the bee bombs, this is the only tower that's viable all the way from wave 1 to wave 40. The thing is that it has amazing range and it does amazing damage, and you can get those things for a very cheap price. And if you buff it with the DJ, it's even more effective. I had to have the DJ for my solo Fallen strat where I use the Swarmer because that allows you to hit one zombie with multiple bee bombs from the same tower. I think your best bet with this tower is to place just enough of them that you can use all of their abilities within the 15-second cooldown window, so that by the time you get to the last one in your group, you can go back to the first one and his bee bomb will be ready to throw again. I figure this is between 10 and 15 Swarmers. If you're playing on a map that crosses itself like Crossroads, that should be easy. But if you're playing on a longer map that has straightaways like Farmland, be sure to spread the Swarmers all along the path. And in that situation, using more than 15 might be better so that you can continue hitting enemies with bee bombs until they die. That's really what you got to do for this tower to be effective. You've got to keep using this ability. Okay, now I'm going to cover some general strategy. The Swarmer is a very effective tower in early game when it only needs to attack normals, speedies, and quicks. It can also hold out well against slows and heavies, allowing you to save up money for more expensive towers such as the minigunner. In addition to that, a few swarmers at level 5 can kill Fallens pretty easily. The swarmer really excels against groups of enemies because it can damage more than one at a time. It's because of this fact that its DPS can greatly exceed that of the ranger and the minigunner. However, it's going to do much worse against fast enemies that come in hordes such as shocks and glitches. Just to cover this again, a specific swarmer cannot attack an enemy if that enemy is already being stung by bees that came from that specific swarmer. However, other swarmers can attack enemies if they're already being stung, just as long as the bees are from a different swarmer. This does not reduce the stinging effect in any way, and the stinging effect actually stacks. Additionally, the Beehive Grenade stinging effect stacks on top of any existing stinging effect, even if it comes from a swarmer that already has bees attacking that enemy. This gives the swarmer the ability to do the most amount of damage to strong enemies, and it even copes well against major bosses like the Molten boss. The swarmer does not have hidden detection at any level. It's recommended that you use other towers with cheap hidden detection for when hiddens initially spawn. Hidden enemies can be harmed by the bee bomb, though the ability cannot directly detect them. Another detectable enemy must be near the hidden for the bee bomb to have any effect on the hidden enemy. This also applies to flying enemies like the balloon. The Beehive Grenade's explosion radius is able to hit a flying enemy, although another detectable ground enemy must be near it. And finally, damage from the swarmer is affected by a zombie's defense status. Because of the swarmer's low damage, DPS is significantly reduced against enemies with defense. So now the question you've all been waiting for: should swarmers be used to trigger hidden wave? Under normal circumstances, I'd say no, but with the current timing bug in the game and how easy it is to trigger hidden wave, I'd say sure, maybe. This is something I want to try out myself if I can find the right teammates. If you guys know anyone that's triggered hidden wave with the swarmer instead of the golden scout, let me know. I mean, it only costs $100 more to place than the golden scout does. Now, if you're gonna run the swarmer in your loadout, I'd recommend running something like swarmer for early game and using its ability for late game, minigunner to be able to detect hiddens and for its high fire rate throughout mid game, farm to, well, of course, farm, DJ to boost the swarmer's range, and then turret for its high damage and hidden detection and for its ability to assist the swarmer late game. Now you might be wondering, what skins does this tower have? As of recording this video, it has exactly none skins. If you're rocking the swarmer, you gotta rock the default skin, although it would be hilarious to see a birthday skin that throws confetti. Now let's go ahead and jump into some trivia. The Swarmer is based on R2-D8's Swarmer in name and appearance. The Swarmer's level 5 outfit is very similar to R2-D8's Beekeeper suit. The store description is actually taken from a scene in the Nicolas Cage film Wicker Man. The damage statistic of the Swarmer will always be at 1 no matter the level of the Swarmer. This is because the Swarmer deals bee damage and the stated damage is never used. Currently, most of the statistical changes are not shown on the Swarmer's upgrade descriptions with the exception of range and fire rate. Because of this, the level 1 and level 3 upgrade descriptions are empty. Alright, and now for my much sought after opinion on the tower. I don't think it's going to be any surprise for me to say that I really like this tower. It's a flex because you had to have been playing during the Easter 2020 event to get it, and I'm not one of these people that would get all upsetty spaghetti if they brought it back this Easter because more people would have it. I think they should. It's the only event tower with the exception of the Gladiator that's actually useful. I love how it flew under the radar until just recently, and now everyone realizes how good it can be, so people are actually using it again. And I think it has a good balance so that it's useful in both early and late game, which isn't true for most towers. Yeah, sure, it's a pain in the butt to constantly have to press the ability button, especially with a cooldown timer not displaying properly. Oh, but wait, how have I not mentioned the coolest thing about this tower? The crazy animation it makes the zombies do. This is truly the most unique thing about the Swarmer, and it should be a guide for all future towers if the devs want to do something unique with them. Now, I've heard that the Toxic Gunner might have some special animation that it does to the zombies where it makes their arms and legs fall off. Of course, that might have also been a dream I had. Well, either way, it's a hilarious effect that goes to cap off all the cool things about one of the most underrated towers in Tower Defense Simulator. So in conclusion, is this tower hot or not? I'm gonna say a big fat hot. I have a feeling that if they bring it back for this year's Easter event, even as a Game Pass, it'll be one of the most popular towers in the game. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the Swarmer. Am I right to say that it's a well-balanced machine? Or am I dead wrong and the tower is just trash? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button with your forehead, hit that subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications however you can so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. And while you're at it, go ahead and join my growing Discord community. You can do that at discord.gg/JustHarrisonThings. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say. Peace.